the bulldozers have gone through, the tracks are going through. What I'm really trying to do now is to get the best outcome for my neighbours, for my community, and the people where I've lived now for the last 30 years. When I came here as a child and fell in love with this place when I was about 7 or 8 years of age, I know exactly what was home, because my brother and I walked the streets, the gullies, the creeks. I know exactly what was here and what's here now. In some ways, there's been a vast improvement and a growth. In other areas, there's been a loss of plant material in the last 20. And the opportunity for world best practice is to put back what was here prior to 1788. And it ain't hard. It's actually much easier and much more professional and ethical to go back to find out what was here before 1788 than we even know the percentage of the main tree species that were growing here prior to 1788. We actually know what the percentage of the trees were. No one's ever asked that, but I've actually discovered very accurately what the percentage of the different tree species were. We even have their Aboriginal names. We've got the Latin names, we've got the common names, and we've got the Aboriginal names, and the pretty accurate percentage of the trees that were lining this ridge, which occupies the suburbs of Epping, Cheltenham, Beecroft, Pennant Hills to Thornley. We've got a pretty accurate identification. That's what I want to see go back in place. It's not complex, and I don't want them to go down to the local nursery or the Forestry Commission nursery at Castle Hill or Pennant Hills. I need the species of the trees that are still here, the remnant trees of which I happen to be a patron of one here. And it's a tree that I'm calling our patron tree. It's a tree of Beecroft, Cheltenham. It tends to peter out the other side, just this side of Epping, on the northern side of Epping. You see it a little bit the other side of Pennant Hills going up to Thornley, but it's our local tree. And it's a subspecies of a tree that's quite widespread throughout New South Wales. But it's evolved to have its own identity here. And I truly, botanically and horticulturally believe that we have a tree here that we can reintroduce. I've lived with this tree now for 15 years. It's never dropped a big branch. It drops twigs and things like all gum trees do. I wouldn't suggest planting it along the railway line, overhanging, and I wouldn't plant it in the car parks. But everywhere else, there are these species of tree. We need to collect the seed of these trees urgently, grow them, and then return them back. That's world's best practice. Let's see if we can rescue this at the last minute. The railway line's going through, okay, there's been lots of justification for it, there's a lot of questions about the mathematics of it and whether it's going to be viable. I think the stupidity of taking coal up and down, I just can't believe we're going to take coal past Newcastle to take it to the southern suburbs of our metropolitan region to export it. I can understand why we've need to export it, why we need to take it right through the middle of the suburbs of Sydney, through 3 to 4 million people, is beyond belief. But the government is hell-bent on doing that. Let's see if the government is hell-bent on rescuing and restoring some sort of health and noise abatement issues using the plant material was here for maybe 2, maybe 3 million years. And we know what was here prior to 1788. We now know that. Let's see if they can actually reintroduce that in the 21st century in 2014-15.